Okay, I think we can start now. Okay, Sanjay, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing good. So let's have one small introduction about you.
Yeah, sure. My name is Sanjay, and I'm from UP, Gorakhpur,
Oh,
and
great.
I recently got admission in Erasmus Mundus MEDFOR course, which is Mediterranean Forestry and Natural Resource Management. So my first year of study it will be in Padua this year, and next year I will be studying in Spain in University of Lida, and I will switch back in the last semester for the thesis to Padua again.
Okay, okay.
Uh, that's
So,
it, I guess.
okay. So where are you from? Gorakhpur means in the city, from the city or apart from like some villages?
Yeah, I'm from actually it's like 30 kilometers away from the Gorakhpur city, so it's a you can call it a village or a
Which
small
village?
town.
Because even I am from Gorakhpur.
Ah, okay, that's
Yes,
great.
yes.
So I'm from actually from Sant Kabir Nagar. So
Okay,
that's a small town is there, Medaval. So I'm from
okay.
Medaval.
Because my childhood was in Gorakhpur and later I shifted to South India.
Okay,
That's
okay,
great.
okay.
Okay, I have to see the questions. Okay. So you have told about like introduction to your course, okay? Okay. So Sanjay, now let's. How do you came here with the help of any consultancy or you did your self applications?
Yeah, so I did everything on my own. I
Okay.
didn't go for any consultancy or anything. I was checking on some websites of
Mm-hmm.
European Union, this EMJMD, which is Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's Degree. There is a catalog available. So in that, all the courses of different fields are mentioned, and
Okay.
for each course there'll be a website where you can go and apply, and you can monitor all your application process. So I came across this. I actually applied for two courses,
Mm-hmm.
but I got selected with the scholarship in one of the course, MEDFOR,
Okay. Okay.
and the another course I was on the reserve list, so I dropped it and
Mm-hmm.
I selected this one.
Okay.
So this course MEDFOR is actually covering all the aspects of the Mediterranean forestry. So
Mm-hmm.
Mediterranean forestry is basically the forest is covering Spain,
Mm-hmm.
Italy, Portugal, all these
Okay.
areas. So basically all the universities and even Turkey as well. So
Okay.
all these universities are covered by these these Mediterranean
Mediterranean.
forests,
Mm-hmm.
you can say.
So.
So that's the basic idea of
Okay.
selecting this course.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the application you have to do it online. The
Okay.
whole process is available there. All the documents that you have to submit, so
Mm-hmm.
that I can explain one by one.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah.
So really, thank you so much for working for nature and working towards nature, and I really love it. So, can you tell me like what is the like approximate cost you have kept, for example, from your starting of applications to coming here? What was the average inputs you have kept? For example,
Yeah, that's
the consultancy
so.
they will charge 1.5 to 2 lakhs. So, what is for the for you? For example, if someone is coming through self applications, just for knowing.
Okay, so I didn't spend much
Okay.
as long as like I applied through VFS.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to pay some VFS fees at VFS like 10,000 something.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, I paid for the tickets, the flight tickets while
Mm-hmm.
coming here.
Okay.
And when I was coming here, I brought something like 2,000 euros with me, for the initial few months expenses until my scholarship starts once I open my bank account here. So that's all the expenses
Okay.
I did so
Okay,
far.
that's great. So now let's talk about like how you started your applications, like step by step, as you are saying.
Yes, so
Hmm.
those who are wishing to apply for the Erasmus Mundus joint master's degree
No,
scholarships,
one thing.
so they can refer the EMJMD catalog online, which I will share the link with you. And
Okay.
in that catalog, there are 140 plus programs are available for the masters.
Okay.
So Erasmus Mundus program is actually you have to study in at least you will get to study at least in 3 to 4 countries and 3 to 4 different universities with a selected mobility track. So
Okay.
for me, I applied for the MEDFOR course. So like if you select your course, it will show you the website for that particular course. So you
Okay.
can go on the website, you can read about all so you can start preparing a bit early, like in May or June, and because application starts in September or October for some of the courses, and the application ends in January mid or December mid. So you have to select your course and you have to read about all the requirements that they have given on the website. So fulfill all the documents, prepare all your documents in advance. And if you have any queries, ask the coordinator of that particular program. If you have any queries, rather than running here and there, you just straight away write emails to the program coordinator, and I'm sure they will reply to your questions, so that it will be clear until by the time you are ready to apply. So
Okay.
regarding like application, the documents which I submitted for the application, and it is more or less same for most of the courses. So you have to prepare your CV well. So I mean, when you are saying CV, it has to be in the European Union format. So Europass. So Europass is available online. You can prepare your CV. You can prepare even your cover letter or motivation letter online. And when you are preparing your CV, make sure that you are mentioning your contact details. You are keeping it short, not too vague, and you are mentioning your study. Your academic details first. Then you are going for your whatever work experience, because this is very important.
Yes.
Most
Yes.
of the people they describe their work experience in very short, but elaborate your work experience, which is suitable for the program that you are applying. So how your work experience is suitable to your program, that has to be reflected in your CV. And
Okay.
next thing comes is the after that, whatever seminars, whatever internships you did, whatever recognitions and certifications you have, you should mention all those details. Along with that, you mention the language proficiency that you have. This all things has to be in the CV, maximum 2 pages. It covers everything. You can even go for 3 pages. Many people they do confusion, like they are confused about how many pages the CV should be, and it can be 2 pages to 3 pages, and that's no problem.
Okay.
The second thing comes your motivation letter. So that's very important
Yes.
actually.
Yes.
So after the CV, motivation letter should cover all the aspects. So you should briefly introduce yourself, your background, your academic background, your professional background, and then you should start mentioning why have you selected this particular course, and what are your career ambitions, and how you are going to fulfill your career ambitions through this particular course. The next thing comes is you have to also describe the mobility track that you are choosing, that why you are selecting this particular university for the first year or for the first semester. So you have to describe that as well.
One moment,
And
Sanjay. One moment. One moment.
yeah,
was something problem with my recording. Yes, continue. Sorry to disturb you.
Yeah,
Yes,
no problem.
you are on the like
So,
motivation letter.
so motivation letter. I mean, the things that you have to mention again is that why that particular university that you have chosen is suitable for you, and why you have chosen that, and how it is going to benefit in your career as well.
Okay.
So describe all these things briefly in 1 or 2 pages, and mention what are your. I mean, at the end of the motivation letter, you should also mention your career plans, your career goals, and what you are going to do in the future after finishing this program. So I think these 3 or 4 details, if you mention properly, it will make a huge impact on your whole
Selection
application
process. Yes.
that you are submitting.
Okay.
So
from where
this is about motivation letter.
so from where you got this like how to prepare this motivation letter and a resume? From where did you got
Actually, I was watching YouTube videos. There are so many. I mean, you just Google is like nowadays is your guru.
Yes,
So you can just type anything, and
Okay.
you have thousands of websites to guide you. And
That's great.
if you still have any doubts, you can consult with your coordinator as well, and they are very helpful in that regard. I mean, they won't tell you that, oh no, how you have to apply, and how can I tell you how to prepare a motivation letter. So even I had some confusions, and I emailed my coordinator, and she was very helpful, and she guided me on a few things while preparing the motivation letter. At the same time, I watched some videos, I watched some, I referred some websites, so that helped me a lot.
And one thing, for example, even as a student, I receive many students messaging me like, brother, I want to prepare my statement of purpose, resume, could you please help me? And many people are charging, and they are taking some money from the students, and they are preparing something from them. So what do you suggest about that? Should someone do like this process, or they should prepare their own resume and motivation letter?
Yes, so that's basically the lack of confidence that students have. So if you are less confident, and if you are thinking that you are not able to follow these steps, you are not able to communicate properly with your coordinator, or you are not able to refer and grasp the things from the different websites or YouTube, I think you should consult some consultancy or some people who have already got admissions in those courses.
Yes.
So I would really recommend that, because if you miss all these any of these things, they are very important in your, and they make impact on your application process. So better, if you don't know something, you should consult with somebody. If you are even not able to communicate with your coordinator, or if you are not able to communicate, get something through Google, you should definitely talk to someone who have already applied and who got selected. So that will help you.
Yes, but I personally suggest people to spend some time, because if someone is writing your motivation letter and resume, they don't know much details about you. They will know the short details, and they will just give that format. So if you are spending time, it will be better, because motivation letter is like deciding your admissions and all. Okay, Sanjay, now we can discuss on the visa, because that is the most important thing. So just share your experience regarding the visa, like what the documents you have kept, who is the sponsors, either ITR and funds, etc., etc. So just give your brief experience on the visa.
Yes, sure. So visa was a big headache, I would say.
Yes.
And not a headache because it's just because of the appointments and the travel ban that was there. Many students have struggled to get appointments and get the visa on the time. So I was lucky in my case that I was having this Erasmus scholarship, and it did not create a lot of problem for me. Even at at various point, like because my home university is in Portugal and my host
Okay.
university is Padua. So
Okay.
my Padua coordinator was really helpful in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, because you know that since April there was travel ban, and
Yes,
those
yes.
people who got appointments through VFS until June, and after June they shut down all the appointments, and there was a huge anxiety among all the students.
Yes, yes.
So I spoke to my coordinator regarding this, and she was very helpful. She even emailed the embassy on my behalf to look into my visa process and to
Oh,
make available some appointments, and the
great, great.
embassy also replied very positively.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first week of August the slots were open at VFS, and I actually booked 3 slots, which is not good. I mean,
Yes,
because I was worried if I miss something like one appointment, I can still submit my documents if something is missing.
yes, yes.
So I booked one appointment for 31st, one for 24th, and
Okay.
then still it was very far, and I was checking on, like in the midnight also I used to check
Yes,
the
yes.
VFS site for the appointments, and
Yes.
fortunately one day I saw that because maybe someone have cancelled the appointment, and there were some slots available on 18th of August.
Mm-hmm.
So I booked that slot and I cancelled the one on 31st and 24th.
Okay.
So I went to the VFS with the list of documents. So I kept my original passport. I
Mm-hmm.
kept my all photocopies of the passport, at least 3 or 4. You keep it. You
Mm-hmm.
take passport size photos, which is as per the specification of the embassy, which is 3.5 by 4.5 centimeter,
Mm-hmm.
and white background and all these things,
Yes,
so
yes.
that you can refer. And after that you carry your original degree. So
Original degree certificate.
yes, original degree certificate with apostille and authentication from the HRD department.
Yes, yes.
So actually I will explain this, because in
Yeah.
case of, I don't know about other embassies, but Delhi embassy is very particular about your original degree certificate and its legalizations.
Mm-hmm.
So in my case, actually my degree was issued from an agriculture university in Maharashtra.
Okay.
So I could not do the HRD. I went to the HRD department in Maharashtra, but they
Mm.
said that since agriculture universities doesn't fall under our purview, you
Okay.
have to go and do the separate attestation process. So they
Mm-hmm.
guided me, and I went to some different department,
Mm-hmm.
and I got my attestation done from entrepreneurship and skill department, and then
Okay.
after that I did it from the home department as well. And
Okay.
before that you have to do your university verification. It is must, because they will the state authorities, they refer the university verification. So
Okay.
I did that, and when I submitted my document, the VFS lady, she saw everything and she said, no, this is not required, and you have to do the HRD.
Oh.
And fortunately, I told her all the scenario, but still she was not understanding, and
Mm-hmm.
she sent me to one of the officers, and one of the Italian officers from the embassy. And that lady was very helpful, and she told me that don't worry, let me contact the person who's interviewing you today, because
Okay.
he will be overlooking your visa and approval, everything. So if he is convinced with your documents, we don't have any problem. So she sent the information with the way I told her that agriculture university. So fortunately I submitted everything, because they were okay. They said we are fine, and it's okay, and you can submit your documents and we will check it.
Okay.
So I submitted that original degree,
Oh,
because
great.
they treated me as an exception, but
Yes,
it
I
is not an
understand.
exception in case
Mm-hmm.
you are passing out from a regular university with a regular course, or some technical university. You have to do it through the HRD.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was one document. After that, I carried my transcript certificates, but they did not ask for it.
Yes, if
Even
you
if you
have the
carry, just
original,
make sure
yes,
that
original is very important. If you have original, they will
yes,
not
yes,
ask for. Yes.
yes. and only submit that transcript if it is apostilled and authenticated.
Yes,
If it's
yes.
not done, it's not
Yes, yes,
required
they will
much.
not. Yes,
The
exactly.
the fifth thing that I submitted was the letter from my home university in Lisbon. So that was the letter of acceptance for the this Erasmus Mundus scholarship.
Okay, admission
That
letter.
mentions yes.
Yes,
So
okay.
that mentions everything that you have been selected for the scholarship, and this is the amount of scholarship you will receive, and they divided the scholarship into parts where you will receive what. Everything was mentioned on it. My first year of mobility track, it was Padua, it was mentioned on it. My start date of the course, it was mentioned on it.
Yes.
So that later I
Everything was
carried,
clear in that
and
letter.
along so
Yeah.
yeah, so that later actually mentions everything about your scholarship, about the program that you have been selected for,
Mm-hmm.
and your mobility track, and the first year university that you have chosen to apply for,
Okay.
and your start date of the program.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from that later, because that was from my home university, and you have to carry the host university later as well, which is Padua
Padua.
University.
Mm-hmm.
So that letter was in Italian as well as English, and it also mentions the similar things,
Mm-hmm.
the program that I was selected for, and the scholarship that I have been awarded for, and the start date of my program. So they mentioned the particular date on it,
Mm-hmm.
and because university here in Italy, they send all your admission letter to the embassy directly to the electronic emails, because
Mm.
here they have government email IDs for
Yes,
just
yes.
for the sending the certificates and everything. So they send it, as well as I carried my hard copy as well.
Mm.
I just took the printout and I carried the hard copy.
Okay.
Apart from that, I because Erasmus Mundus provides you 2 year of free insurance as well. So that's a
Okay.
comprehensive insurance plan of at least 30,000 euros.
Okay.
So
Means the
my actually
university itself is providing the insurance.
yes. So
Oh,
the
that's great.
home university, the consortium coordinator, they arrange
Okay,
the
okay.
insurance for you.
That's great.
So that insurance was actually it was not available at the moment when I applied for the visa.
Okay,
So
okay.
I spoke so I spoke to the VFS people, and they suggested me that since you are not having the actual insurance, it was mentioned on my admission letter and my acceptance letter, but
Okay, okay.
still they said you have to buy one insurance at least for 3 months.
Okay, okay.
So I listened to them, and I bought one STFC Ergo insurance for
Insurance.
2,700 rupees for
Okay.
3 months,
Okay.
for I think 42,000 or $50,000 something. So which is, when you convert it, it will come to 42,000 euros. So it should
Okay.
be more than 30,000 euros at
The
least for
insurance should
that
cover.
period.
Yes.
So in that case, I purchased that one, and I carried those. I printed those copies, PDFs. I kept it with me.
Mm-hmm.
I will, and just make sure when I'm telling the originals, you should keep the 3 or 4 photocopies of
Photocopies.
all
Yes,
these
yes.
things. So, and after that, I took I booked dummy tickets, because that
Yes,
time there
yes.
was travel ban.
For flight and accommodations. So you did the dummy.
Yes, so
Because
I did the
many
dummy
people will
ticket.
ask me whether it need dummy or like original something like that.
See, one thing I will tell you, it depends again, because
Mm-hmm.
if you are having a scholarship, if you are selected for a scholarship, and they are sure about your financial situation,
Okay.
that they are damn sure about your financial situation, they won't refer it much. They will just refer your travel date and these all things. They won't go. But sometimes they dig deep, and it depends on your luck as well, because
Yes, yes, yes.
some people when they get rejections, they mention particularly that your flight tickets were not authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if you are self-funded, try to book some refundable tickets. At
Mm.
least I'm sure you will lose some money in case your travel plan changes or your visa get rejected. but at least like 15 to 16,000. Most of the airlines nowadays, they are providing refundable tickets. So let's say you will get back at least 16,000, 15. I mean, you will lose 16,000, 15,000 rupees. But it is very important than getting your visa refused. So self-funded student, I will say book the original tickets. And if you are having scholarship and your scholarship is covering your travel expenses and everything, you should go for the dummy ticket. It's no problem.
Okay. For accommodation?
And accommodation, actually, my university here in Padua, they have ESU residences. So all over Padua, they have 7 ESU residences. So these are university sponsored and government residences.
Okay.
So I applied for it. In May itself when it was the seats were open. I applied for it, and Erasmus students, they provide the accommodation. So I booked the accommodation online. So they have SASA service here. So you book the appointment, the room online, and you have to pay some deposit in the beginning. Like I paid like 350 euros as a deposit, and which you will get back at the end of your stay, like after 1 year. And so I did that, and they sent me a accommodation certificate that I have been provided with the accommodation for this duration, this particular duration.
So that
and they send the same
you showed for the
details to the
visa
embassy
purpose
as well directly.
So that certificate you showed for the visa purpose, for the accommodation?
Yes, exactly.
That's great. For the fund, and who is the sponsor for you? How much fund you show?
So
yes.
So this Erasmus Mundus scholarship, most of the programs, like there are around 140 plus programs, they provide you. So there are 2 things. So first thing is the partner countries, and then you have the program countries. So program countries are those who are part of EU and some Scandinavian countries like Switzerland and all those countries. So they are part of program countries, and then partner countries are the countries which are extra European countries like India and Asia and Brazil, America. All those are included. So program country scholarships also they give, which are less than the partner country scholarships. So partner country scholarship students, they get maximum scholarship of 49,000 euros for the 2 year of program. So in that 49,000 euros, actually they cover your tuition fees. So 9,000 per year, which is 18,000 for 2 years. And they provide you 24,000 euros for the 2 years. That means for 24 months. So you will get like 1,000 euro per month as your stipend. So which is more than sufficient.
Yes.
And so 18 plus 24, I think it's 42. And 42 or 32.
Okay, 18.
24. Okay, that one you can calculate.
Yes,
and later they give you a one-time installment cost of 1,000 euros. So that installment cost you will get it to buy your SIM, let's say, to buy some utensils, to buy some jacket, this and that, you can
really,
spend on that.
It is very interesting, and I'm really hearing it for the first time, because all these type of facilities I did found in Milan, because for us it is totally different. It's really interesting to me and really new to us, everyone. Okay. So
that 1,000 you can spend here and there, or you can save as per your wish.
Okay.
And they give you, because if you are a distant country student, like if you are traveling abroad, like if your home country is like more than 4,000 kilometers away from the host university or the home university, they give you 3,500 euros per year to cover your traveling expenses. So which is more than sufficient, and I think that expenses, it covers at least you can fly to your country once in a year, and you can also cover your expenses here in Italy itself, like your daily bus expenses, like you are going around, taxi expenses and all those things. So this is the format, and this is the breakup of the scholarship.
Okay.
that we get.
Okay, but I didn't get it. For example, for the visa purpose, we have to show the fund in our bank account.
Yes, so
Yes.
it's very simple
Yes.
because it's an European Union scholarship, and the European Union, when they see the letter, that's why the letter of acceptance from the home university is important,
Okay.
because it has the signatures from your
University.
coordinator as well as from the European Union.
Okay.
So because you are part of the European, all the universities and all the countries, these are part of European Union.
Okay.
So these are assured scholarships. Once you have the letter, that means you are
So-
you are good to go.
Okay.
And
Means if
nobody
you have that
nobody
letter.
asked.
Okay.
So you don't. I didn't show a single penny in my account. No account
Oh.
statement, no ITR, nothing. So you
Oh,
just have to
that's
have that
great.
letter and you are done.
Oh, really?
Even when the visa officer interviewed me, he straight away he just asked me a few questions like I didn't tell you. So he just asked me my background, because I'm having. He asked me why you are having this much of gap in your, like, you passed out in 2013 your graduation, and now you are again doing masters in 2021. So why that gap was there? So you have to justify all those things, and you should know about your university, about the place where you are going, about your course that you are attending, about the scholarship that you are getting. You should be able to explain to the visa officer.
Okay.
So,
So means
you should be able to justify all
okay.
these things.
So you had visa interview, right?
Yes, immediately after submitting the documents at VFS, they arranged one video conferencing interview.
Oh.
So
Really?
the visa officer was he asked me these questions, and he, at the end of the interview, he just told me that you will get your visa like in 2 weeks of working days. So
Okay. Okay.
and I applied on 18th and I got my visa on 13th of September.
Okay. Okay. Really, it is very totally new to me because I never heard about all these the scholarship.
Yes,
And
and I see that, I mean, there are so many channels, and I see very few people have covered the Erasmus Mundus these
yes,
courses.
because
I mean, the particular subject, because most of the people, they are covering the regular studies, the regular funding studies, or let's say regional scholarships, or the university scholarships. But I noticed that many of the YouTube channels which are available for Italy or other countries, they are not covering this particular aspect.
yes, yes. So through this video, I think even I got many informations, and it's really totally new to me, and it will help to other students also. So by this, I found that, for example, if you have the scholarship confirmation from your university, then you can show it as a fund for the visa purpose.
Yes, 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 exactly.
Okay, that's great. So we have covered the accommodate visa. Now let's talk on which topic I want to see, because I'm not getting what to ask. Okay. Okay, Sanjay. Now let's talk about traveling and the COVID rules and regulations as you travel from India to here. So just to share your experience, like what you did for the COVID, and after coming here, what are the rules and regulations, etc.
Yes.
Yes.
So for travel, because my flight, I took Lufthansa.
Okay.
So I will just explain a bit about the flight. So I
Okay.
chose Lufthansa.
Mm-hmm.
They provide this one extra check-in baggage for the students. So you can apply on their website,
Mm-hmm.
and they will save your personal email or your student email, and you can have that benefit from like having 23 kg extra one check-in baggage. So
Okay.
I chose Lufthansa from Delhi to Frankfurt, and then from Frankfurt to Venice. So I
Okay.
landed in Venice in Italy. So regarding the COVID certifications, my flight was on 2:40 a.m. on 30th. So I got my COVID test done on 28th itself. So I got
Okay.
it done on 28th around 11 o'clock in the morning, which
Mm-hmm.
was well within 72 hours limit of the arrival in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So and after that you have to fill the DPLF, the digital passenger locator form. So you can fill, and you have to mention all your residence detail, all your personal details, and where you will be staying in quarantine in Italy, your Italian address, everything. So that you print it and you keep it with you. Keep one copy as well. COVID certificate, test report, keep one photocopy as well. And after that, I took my vaccination certificate as well, because now you know that the Covishield is approved. From 23rd of September they approved Covishield. It is equivalent to get the green pass in Italy, and which is very good news. So I got only first dose, and I was waiting. If they don't approve the Covishield, I won't take the second dose. I will take it in. I will start a fresh cycle in Italy itself.
Yes.
But fortunately, on 23rd I got this news, and I was very fortunate because I had to postpone my travel, because earlier I planned to travel on 23rd. But if I did it then, I will never get the second shot, and I have to start a fresh cycle here in Italy. So I got the second dose on 25th, and I got the certificate. So you can carry the vaccine certificate as well. It helps you a lot at different places. So you get that as well. I think that's sufficient for Venice. I think for Rome, if you are arriving in Rome, you have to book pre-book some COVID test for arrival on the airport.
Okay.
So you pre-book that, and you have a copy of that as well. This information I got from some students. So I'm sharing here, and I think your passport with visa, that's sufficient. These 3 or 4 documents you submit at the check-in counter, and make sure that you are doing the web check-in before going to drop your baggage on the check-in counter. So it will make the process easy.
Okay. What about
that's all.
Quarantine process after landing in Italy?
Yes. So I landed. When I landed in Venice, because here in EU you have a good system that wherever you enter, the first point of entry, they will do your immigration. So like I landed in Frankfurt, and they did my immigration there. And when I landed in Italy, I just they didn't ask for anything. Nobody asked for nothing. Not even COVID test. There was no COVID, because actually there is a rule that when you arrive you have to do the swab test. But nobody asked for it, and I just picked my luggage and took the shuttle. I booked the shuttle already from India itself. So I booked the shuttle, and I just reached to my residence here.
Okay. So it means you can stay for the quarantine in your residence wherever you are booking your accommodations.
Yes. So the place where they gave me the accommodation is the same place of the quarantine as well. So I have to self-isolate myself for 10 days. Here in the university residence. And I cannot go out, but I can go around in the kitchen with mask and everything. You can go around in the kitchen. You can order food online. You can order it from the canteen as well. Or you can cook yourself. So it's fine.
So how did you managing, for example, for basic stuffs, if you need water, milk and all? So how you are managing it in your quarantine?
I think your voice is very low.
Sorry. So how you are managing, for example, the basic stuffs like water and milk if you want something? So how you are managing it in your quarantine? Is it hard?
It depends on the cooperation. So you have students here, like we have some Nepal country students, students from Pakistan, students from Bangladesh, India. So we all are here, and we all are in the same situation more or less. So we are helping each other. Sometimes the person who finished the quarantine, we tell them, okay, here's the money and you can get me these things. So they will buy it for you. Or there are so many apps. You can order it online. Once you have the Italian number, you can order it online, and they will deliver it for the cash on delivery as well. Sometimes I cook. I brought few stuffs from India, so I cook as well.
Okay.
Sometimes I order from online as well. Sometimes I get stuff from outside. Some friends who are going outside, they can
Mm-hmm.
buy stuff from me. So
Okay.
that's how I'm managing. So
That's great.
almost 3 or 4 days gone so far.
Okay. So what about like some SIM card, and also which SIM card you bought from India, and whether it is working or not, and which SIM card you buy here, what is the cost and all?
Yeah, a SIM card is must. So once you arrive, make sure that at least because India, I won't suggest you buy a SIM card from India
Yes.
because that's very expensive and it doesn't work long. I mean, in long term, you can't survive with that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's better. Some people can do that who are not having that who are less confident.
Mm.
So I came here and I bought because my university suggested that to buy Iliad. So I
Okay, Elliot.
bought Iliad online. It's very simple process. You book it online,
Mm-hmm.
and they will you record a short video and you upload your passport and it's done. You pay it online. I
Mm-hmm.
use my Indian debit card to pay online, and
Mm-hmm.
it was done. So I think, and it was delivered on the same day. So
Okay.
that's a very good process. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So now I want to like one small topic. For example, you what is your bachelor? Sorry, what was your bachelor?
I did my bachelor's in forestry.
Forestry. Okay, in
Yeah,
which
and
year?
after that I did masters as well. So from 2013 to 15, I did masters in wood science and technology from
Hmm.
Forest Research Institute in
Okay.
Dehradun.
Okay, so
Yeah.
in 2021 you applied again. It is a master course, right? So
Yes,
there is a
yes, yes.
like huge gap.
Yes, so that gap is because I was because when I passed out in 2015, I did my masters and I passed out.
Okay.
My family situation was not very, the economic situation was not very
Mm-hmm.
good, and I had to take up a job at
Okay.
that moment. And throughout all those days, I was supporting my family, my sister, and my
Hmm.
brother.
Okay. Okay.
And now I somewhat feel that they are it was a dream then itself that I wanted to go abroad and study
Hmm.
abroad, but I couldn't fulfill it.
Okay.
I'm married actually. I
Mm-hmm.
will be bringing my family very
That's
soon.
okay. Hmm.
Maybe once my residence permit is done,
Yes.
I will
Yes.
be bringing them here as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so then 6 years I worked abroad as well, and in India as well. I
Okay.
worked 3 years in Ghana, 2 years in India, and then another 1 year in Liberia. So
Okay.
that
Okay.
was related to the forest management and forest operations.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that experience also helped me a lot. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong in mentioning that you are doing second masters again.
Yes.
I mentioned it very clearly on my application as well. And I
So okay.
described
Okay.
my work experience, my journey. And
Hmm.
the same thing I told to the visa officer, if you are very honest to yourself, if you
Hmm.
are explaining yourself better, and everybody will get it. It's nothing wrong in it. So share your experience. Why? Just be true to yourself that why there was a gap. You explain them, and they understood everything.
Okay. Okay. So for example, many people will ask me like, what is the like minimum age for applying for master? So is there any, do you know anything like something age for applying for
I
master
I
for
I
bachelor's?
never heard of anything like in Europe. I never heard
Yes.
of
Even
anything like a minimum age. Even on the websites also, like you cannot find a
yes.
particular
Yes.
age criteria like we have in India, that you have to be
Yes.
having at
32
least
or
26
30
of
something.
minimum
Yes.
year age and all those things. But here, I checked most of the courses. I never find
Yes.
any criteria like that.
Yes.
Even they treat you equally,
Yes. Yes.
even if you are of different ethnicity, if you are from different country, it doesn't matter what gender you are, it
Yes.
doesn't matter for them.
Yes. Yes. Because even in my course, there is one guy from I think from Europe only. He is approximately I think 43 or 44, and he is doing his master because of his interest, and it's really very
Yes,
impressed me. So
yes.
that's why I asked.
Now I'm also 29, and
Hmm.
here
Doing
I
what?
am. So I don't think it's a
Yes,
barrier.
that is the good thing in Europe. They will not ask if you are interested, then they will welcome you.
Just focus on fulfilling your
Yes,
dream. That's all.
that's great.
No one cares what
Yes,
you
yes.
do with your age.
Okay, so I think we have covered everything related to the things. If I'm missing some things, can you remember me? Or if you want
Your
to.
voice again is very low.
Okay, sorry. I think we have covered everything. So if I'm missing something, or if you think I need to share something, then you are welcome. Just let me know.
Just let me refer your message because
Yes, yes, yes.
maybe I'm not. I also am thinking that I covered almost everything.
Yes, yes. That's why.
Okay. I just a few things regarding your application. So like in Italy,
Okay.
in my case, the DOV and pre-enrollment was not required at all by the university, and it was
Okay.
mentioned on my acceptance letter.
Okay,
So
okay.
if it is mentioned on your acceptance letter, they will not ask you for it.
Okay.
But if it is not mentioned, make sure you are having your DOV
And,
in advance before you are applying for your visa and your pre-enrollment as well. So
Okay.
that I will note down here. And yeah, regarding the scholarship, like after the documents, when I explained you, I missed one part.
Okay.
So once you for the scholarship, the documents that you have to submit.
Okay.
So I covered until I think your passport, you have to prove your residence that you are living abroad for
Okay.
last 6 months. You are living in a country other than an European country.
Okay.
That you have to mention because that's a mandatory document. And after that, you have to give at least 2 references, one from your professor and one from your workplace. If
For
it is
scholarship
not, I mean,
also?
if you are not working, it's not necessary. You can provide both the reference letters
For
from
scholarship
from your
also,
professor.
for scholarship also, we have to provide the reference.
Yes.
Okay.
So you provide that reference. Maybe sometimes they contact the professors or your supervisors if you are in a workplace. So that is one requirement. And apart from that, I guess motivation letter, CV, your original degree certificate of residence, your passport, CV. Yeah, that's all I guess. And so now I will describe it. So based on your academic experience, so there is a first step. So based on your academic experience and your academic performance, so they give a weightage out of 100. So out of 100, they will give you from 65 points. They will allot to your academic performance.
Okay.
Like if you are very good in academics, they will give you points out of 65.
Okay.
So you have to score on that point. And 15 points are for your work experience. That is reserved. So if you have some good work experience, then it's enough.
Okay.
Apart from that, I think 10% or something. The rest of the points they are for the interview.
Okay.
So the interview as well. So like you will get a call from the host university professor. So the professor will call you. He will talk to you. He will ask you some questions about your background, about why you have chosen that course.
Means before the admission. Before the admissions, they
Yes,
will.
before the admission. That will be around March or April.
Okay. Okay.
So that is one thing.
Okay. So I think everything is fine, and I would like to request you, if you are okay, then I think you can share your maybe format for like your cover letter and motivation letter and resume, and the link which you said in the beginning, so that it will, and I can mention in the description, so that it will be helpful for other students, those who are thinking. And also, so whatever the reference you have, you can share me so that I can mention in the description. And also other thing, if you want to share your like social contact, maybe like Insta ID or some other things, so that students, if they want something related to your Padua University or your course, they can message you or they can contact you, so that it will be helpful for them. If you like I can do it, otherwise I will skip this point. It is totally, it is your
No
personal
problem.
choice. Yes.
I will share it. I
Yes.
want everyone to be confident, and
Yes. Yes.
when it comes to, because we went through all these difficulties and all
Yes.
these problems. So I don't want someone to face these difficulties, or at least they will have some support.
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
reason. That's the reason I like, and even for that only, I just started to share the experience so that it will be helpful for many students. Yes. So
Yes,
thank you
exactly.
so much for accepting
problem.
all my proposals, and I just doing for the sake of students so that it will be helpful for them. That's it.
Thank
Okay.
you for having me here,
No,
Suman.
no,
It
really,
was a
it's a great
great
meeting, and
meeting, and
even I came to know many things because I know only the basic thing because I came with the help of consultancy, and I'm very like scared students. I do not have confidence, as you told. I did everything with the help of agents. So after seeing you and interviewing you, it's really I gain a lots of experience and knowledge because I don't know the scholarship, and you are saying that if no need for fund if you have the scholarship confirmation and all, it is totally new to me. So I have like lots of knowledge from you.
one more thing you can add it there,
Okay.
like many students who pass out like their graduation in India, and
Okay.
they are preparing for the masters or the scholarship and other things.
Mm-hmm.
So they should not hurry. I mean, they should take 1 or 2 year of, at least 1 or 2 year of experience in India, with through some internship, through some part-time jobs. That's really important. And here in European universities and the European culture,
Yes.
they give a lot of weightage to your work experience,
Experience. Yes.
apart
Yes.
from the apart from your academic experience.
Mm-hmm.
So students should not hurry that, they are they should take their time, at least 1 or 2 year, and then they are free to apply. I mean, if they still have some time,
Okay.
it
Okay.
depends on the person. I mean, yeah.
Okay, that's great. Yes, I will mention it. And yes, even in Europe, they prefer the experience than the
Yes.
fresh student. And one thing that is this year, many students messaging me the visa rejections. So, do you have any idea? Means what will be the reason for the rejection of the visas? Because many students got their visa rejections, and I really feel very sad for them. So, what will be the reason? Because they are not mentioning any clear reason for the visa. They were mentioning 8 point or like some appropriate documents and not for stay, something like that. So, if you have any idea, please share. Because I think you have
Yes.
did good research
So
on this.
yeah, many students and many of my friends to whom I know, they came to me saying that their visa was refused. And I noticed one thing, that there are three points to where they issue the visa. So one is Delhi Embassy, Mumbai Consulate, and the Kolkata Consulate.
Mm-hmm.
So far, Kolkata Consulate was one of the embassy which was very efficient in delivering the visas. The
Mm-hmm.
refusal rate was less.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm saying this because it depends on totally on the consulate, because they don't follow the embassy.
Okay.
They have their own their own authority. They have their own jurisdiction, and they have every right to decide on the applications that they receive.
Mm-hmm.
So Mumbai Consulate was the one who rejected most of the visas, and there was no clear reasons for it.
Yes, yes.
And most of them says that the doubtful documentation.
Doubtful document.
So
Yes,
that
yes.
was, yes. So I will, because I never referred it case by case, but I will just suggest like an overview. So I will say, like, whatever documents you are submitting, when you are submitting any document, make sure that you are presenting the correct information, whether it is CV or motivation letter. It is synchronized all over. Your flight tickets, it is synchronized. The dates and everything, it has to be in a synchronization. It should not be like you are in interview, you are talking one thing, and then on documents there is another thing mentioned. Because when they interview you, they take notes while taking your interview. So
Okay.
they do refer their notes when they are scrutinizing your visa application. So, and especially the main reason of rejection was I mean, when they say doubtful documentation, it was because of the financial documents that you presented. So just go by the way they need it. So refer their website, refer what they are saying, go by it. I mean, you don't have to do anything extra, or you don't have to do anything which is not mentioned there. If you have any doubt, you can get into. Many people are saying they are not replying,
Yes, yes.
they are under a huge burden, you know. Nowadays, Mumbai consulate also received a lot of applications. So make sure that you are contacting the people who received the visa from that particular consulate, who got their visa approved. You are speaking to them in case if you are missing some documents, your financial, like if they said 3 years ITR, it should be 3 years. If they said the ITR should be apostille, it should be apostille. If they say that we need a letter from your workplace, it should be from your workplace, properly stamped and apostille and everything. If they say that it has to be from your mother or father, it has to be
Sponsor.
there. Because if you are not following their guidelines, that's their requirement, and it cannot be same for all the three consulates or embassies. They have their own right to reject your visa on certain grounds.
Oh, yes,
So
yes.
make sure that you are following. I mean, the the big funda is just make sure that you are following the guidelines, their
Yes, yes.
requirements. If you are fulfilling that, I don't think there is a reason for them to reject your visa. And
Okay.
at that time, in case that they reject your visa, you will still have a strong background or strong support to say that, okay, no, here is your requirement and here what I have given you. So I don't think it will be a problem, because there are students who are getting their visa approved from the same consulate, and there are few people who are getting it
Yes,
rejected.
yes.
So make sure that if your visa is rejected and if you think your documents were properly it were there according to the requirements, you should reapply again, because you have 10 days, I think, to reapply, to appeal against the refusal. So you do that. Regarding Delhi embassy, the same things are there, but they are less. I mean, I would say 70-80% visa they are accepting.
Okay.
The rejection rate is more in case of the Mumbai embassy. So make sure what they need. Like
Yeah, okay, okay.
like it's like just like restaurant. So when we go in a restaurant and we order something for 10 euros, or let's say 500 rupees, we expect something like we
Yes,
need
yes.
this, the spices should be like this and
Yes,
this and
yes,
this.
yes.
So it's the same similar way. So you have to know their flavor, so what they need. So
Okay.
you have to serve them like that.
Yes,
If you
yes.
serve them in a wrong way, they will definitely reject it.
Okay,
So
okay.
you have to know like how a person is behaving, and that way you have to behave with him. That's
Okay,
the
okay.
simple
That-
thing. Yeah.
That's great. So thank you for clearing all the doubts. And one more doubt. For example, how you will come to know? For example, I am from Andhra Pradesh. I did all my graduation from Andhra Pradesh. So how I will come to know which embassy I have to go with? Mumbai, Delhi, or Kolkata? How it will be decided?
Yes. So, like, I will just explain my case. My
Okay.
passport was because I worked in Kolkata, and my passport was issued in Kolkata,
Okay.
and it was having a Kolkata address, and my residence is in Gorakhpur.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And then before that, I traveled to Ghana
Okay.
for last 6 months. So I was not in India. So there was a huge confusion about it as well, because if you are not staying at your, it doesn't matter where your passport is issued.
Okay.
They only look at the place where you are staying for last 6 months, and you should have some kind of proof proving that, like from SDM or something, that you are staying at that place for last 6 months. But in my case, since I got to it, I mean, I got to know about it very late, and and I was staying in Ghana for last 1 year. So I was not in India. I just came in May, and I applied in August. So they asked me. I spoke to the embassy as well, and so they said you should talk to the embassy in Ghana, the Italian embassy, if they are ready to accept your visa. But I said, how I can go back to Ghana again, spending that money and this. So I just simply emailed the Ghanaian embassy, and they said, no problem. Since you are there, you should just present some documents proving that you are part of that residence. You are staying there, and it will be enough. So that email, I supported it. I presented it as a supporting document that Ghana people, they are not ready to accept my visa application, so you do it. So
Okay, okay.
I just gave them my Aadhaar card, and they were okay with it.
Okay, okay.
But in case, I mean, you should be prepared that you at least have a domicile certificate or something which proves that you are staying there for last 6 months.
Okay, okay.
And so it's the jurisdiction. So north states, they are part of Delhi. South and west states, they are part of Mumbai consulate. And then
Okay.
eastern and northeastern part, that comes in Kolkata consulate, and even some Nepal and other countries as well.
Okay, okay. So Sanjay, that's great, and I really very thankful for you for giving your experience and sharing your valuable time, and it will be really helpful for everyone. So thank you, and I think if you don't have shared anything, we can end this meeting.
Yes, so thanks to you too.
No
You are
problem.
doing a great job,
No.
and simply helping somebody directly or indirectly
Yes,
while
yes.
you are in Italy. It's really there are a lot of students who are benefiting from this channel,
Yes,
and
yes.
just keep it up, and
Definitely,
let's stay in
definitely.
touch.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you too.
Yes.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. Bye
Ciao.
bye.